everybody. Here we are again, back in the saddle, October 28th, 2014. Very special guest in the second hour of the show today. Very special guest in the second hour of the show, the one, the only, the man who needs no introduction, Dr. Joel Wallach. Will be in the house on the second hour of this program, which is going to change up the format here a little bit. We are going to go to the phones rather quickly here in the first hour, and then we are going to leave the second hour for no phone calls and an exclusive interview with myself and Dr. Joel Wallach. So I appreciate your listenership. I appreciate your support. If you like what we're talking about and you want to learn more and you're listening on terrestrial radio, then be sure to listen to the commercial break and call the number that your radio station gives out during the commercial breaks. And that number will give you access to a local longevity representative who can show you the ropes and show you how you can best interface with longevity for your own special needs. Listen during the commercial breaks through live terrestrial radio and call the number and find a local representative. You will be connected with a local representative in your area who can introduce you to the undiscovered country of science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition brought to you through the agency of longevity. And as always, if you found me all by your lonesome and you want to learn more, 855-347-3696 is the number to call, 855-347-3696. And if you were brought here by a human being, a living, breathing human being who recommended you tune in and turn on, then get with them in order to get information about how you can take your next step. If you're watching on YouTube, which many people are, and you would like to join the worldwide live chat, which is part of our video stream, go to thedrgliddenshow.tv, thedrgliddenshow.tv. There are currently 57 people, working upwards of 60 people in the chat room right now in the worldwide live free chat room. And that beats a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. So let's just get right to the phones today. We're going to do this backwards. We're going to get right to the phones in the first hour and then Dr. Wallach in the second hour. Are you tickled pink? You should be, because Dr. Wallach is the man. Let's go to Florida and talk to Angela. Hey, Angela, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Thank you so much for taking my call, Dr. Glidden. I was calling because I was diagnosed with SVT. It's a form of arrhythmia. This happened like a couple of years ago. I know that I was drinking like excessive amounts of caffeine. And I believe that it possibly could have been triggered by that, but the doctors said impossible. So I'm on metoprolol, I believe that's how you pronounce it, and I really didn't want to go in that direction, but it has helped me. But if I can find something more natural to get rid of these heart arrhythmias, because my heart goes up to like 220 beats per minute when my heart goes out of rhythm.
Well, let's put, all right. It's very scary. Whenever the heart is, whenever the heart is at play, whenever the heart is weakened, whenever the heart is symptomatic, it's a very scary thing because nothing cuts closer to the core of your very being than your heart. So we need to get this under control. But there's a couple things we need to understand by way of perspective, because perspective is important. And my job here is to educate people not only about what's going on inside their bodies, but to help educate people about the methodology brought into the theater here by the MDs, because we need to know what they're good at, we need to know what they're bad at, so that moving forward, you'll be able to make better decisions based on your own behalf rather than just immediately automatically running to the MD's office, which everybody in this country does. Everybody in North America does. Quite frankly, everybody in the industrialized world does. Everybody just automatically runs to the MDs, even though they are the wrong people for the job here. So your medical doctor, don't you think it's interesting that your medical professional who holds themselves out to be the kings and queens of all things medical, the de facto default go-to people for all things medical, the keepers of the crown, the keepers of the kingdom, the gatekeepers to the doorway of all things medical, the people in whose shoes nobody else is fit to wear. These people have no idea whatsoever what's causing your supraventricular tachycardia. They have no earthly idea what's causing it, and their best solution is not to to discover the cause of the condition, excuse me, not to come up with a cure for the condition, but simply to deliver drugs, the intention of which are to manage the condition. And what they have in their back pocket, Angela, is a pacemaker. They've got you all lined up for a pacemaker surgery. So if this isn't, controlled appropriately by the drug that they have you on, then the next step for them is to go in, thread a little electrode up through an artery or a vein in your leg and work it all the way up into your heart, and then burn the nerves in your heart that make your heart beat and just destroy them. Just vaporize them, just napalm them to death, completely disintegrate and burn. It's called an ablation, which is fancy schmancy doctor talk for slash and burn. And then they're going to insert a pacemaker under your skin, which will artificially control how your heart beats, because man is smarter than God. And, it's really your heart's funky just because, you have a bad heart, and that's just life. There's no possible way to fix it. Let's not try to understand the pathoneogenesis of the illness. Let's just manage it with drugs sold to you at a profit. And then when everything goes bad, we're going to burn the hell out of the heart. We're going to stick an electronic pacemaker under your skin, and this is their rationale.
Yes, that's true.
It is.
That's exactly what they suggested.
Right.
But I said there has to be a way.
Well, all right. So, and I'm going to tell you what we do here, and it's really not that difficult to get on the other side of. But you have to think to yourself, right, if these people are so clueless, or if this is their approach towards the heart, well, then this must be their approach towards everything else, because really, if you don't know what to do for the heart, what are you going to do? So this is their same approach for everything. It's their approach for high blood pressure. It's their approach for arthritis. It's their approach for fibromyalgia. It's their approach for depression. It's their approach for blood sugar issues. It's their approach for everything. They are not concerned with how to cure it, and this is why we have a healthcare crisis. This is why medical costs are so expensive, because what's the most expensive medical therapy? The one that doesn't work. The one that's not intended to fix the freaking problem. And this is why this country and Canada and England and Ireland and many members of the European Union are being crushed economically beneath the weight of health care, because it's not health care. It's disease management. And this is what they roll out all of the time, and this is exactly why we have a problem. We don't need to tweak the system, manage or massage the system, the medical system. This is not a problem with the way that medicine is delivered. It's not a management problem. It doesn't need to be tweaked on the front end. It's not an insurance problem. It's a medical problem. It's a medical delivery problem. The medicine that the MDs are trained in is the cause of the problem. It needs to be abandoned. The system does not need to be tweaked. It needs to be abandoned. And there are millions of people just like you, all on the list for the pacemaker, who have drunken the MD Kool-Aid. They don't know that there's any place else to turn. And thank God that you found us. So,
yes.
So we lean on Dr. Wallach, and Dr. Wallach, of course, is going to be my guest in the second hour. Dr. Wallach, after 26,000 autopsies, 10 million histopathologies, that's when you take a little section of the heart, you take a little section of the kidney, you take a little section of the pancreas, and you look at it under a microscope and you analyze what's going on. 10 million of those. After 10 million of those and 26,000 autopsies, he started to see patterns and got a clue. And now from Dr. Wallach's perspective, which is the correct perspective, the vast majority of the time when the heart is beating irregularly, the nerves in the heart are perfectly fine and they are functioning 100% normally. The problem isn't the nerves in the heart. The problem is the spinal cord. Because the nerve that goes to your heart, that regulates your heartbeat naturally and normally, gets to the heart from the spinal cord. The spinal cord goes from the base of your brain all the way to your tailbone. It's like a big electrical cable that goes right down the middle of your back. And all of the nerves, all of the electrical wires that make everything in your body work come off of that central trunk line, which is the spinal cord. And, of course, the spinal cord is protected by your backbone, and that's the stuff that the chiropractor adjusts. And in between each individual backbone, and you have about 33 of them, there's a cushion. It's like a feather pillow. It's called an intervertebral disc, and it acts as a cushioning device. Now, if your intervertebral disc is like a feather pillow that's lost its feathers, well, it's not going to be that cushy anymore. And if it just so happens to be the intervertebral disc at the part of your spine where the nerve comes out of the central trunk line that goes to your heart, if that feather pillow has lost its feathers, you're going to cough or you're going to sneeze or you're going to bend over or you're going to turn around to get something, and it's going to squish on that nerve. And when that nerve gets squished, it's going to make your heart beat irregularly. But once the nerve is squished, it's going to take a while for it to recover. So the erratic heartbeats are going to continue, and then guess what? You're going to sneeze again, you're going to cough again, you're going to bend over again, and it's going to tweak it again. The genesis of this problem most of the time is not the heart, it's the intervertebral discs. You stay tuned with me, Angela. I'll tell you how to fix that when we come back. Stream today. You want to do it. It's free, and it's fun. The Dr. Glidden Show. And .tv. Let's go back to Angela in Florida. Angela, are you still with me?
Yes.
All right. Yes, so, the down and dirty, easy way to figure out whether I'm right or not is to stand in your bare feet in the hall and measure your height as precisely as you can. And then compare that measurement with how tall you were when you were in high school or college. And if you are shorter than you were in high school or college, then and you have supraventricular tachycardia or any type of irregularity in your heartbeat, then it's a degenerative disc issue most likely. All right. Now, if you have this, if I'm correct and this is caused by a degenerative disc issue, then you know that your heart is going to be like right on the edge, man. It's going to be right on the edge of beating appropriately and beating inappropriately and beating appropriately and beating inappropriately. And if you take excessive amounts of caffeine on top of that, you're going to tip it in the favor of beating inappropriately. And so the MD is wrong there.
Okay.
Well, you know, so it's kind of like the caffeine wouldn't be causing this problem, but the caffeine is definitely going to be aggravating the problem and making it bigger than it needs to be. Okay. Guaranteed. And so the medical doctor just is wrong. And I'm sure that if we did a CT scan of his brain, we would see that it was about the size of a peanut. So in any event, what we want to do here is give that intervertebral disc stuff support, right? So now this is a pretty serious issue, okay? So I'm going to recommend that you go to my website, drglidden.com.
Okay.
drglidden.com. And click on the link that says Become an Insider.
Okay.
Now, that's a $25 a month subscription. You can cancel it at any time. And quite frankly, we give you a 7-day grace period that, you know, we'll give you all your money back after 7 days if you don't like it. So you have absolutely nothing to lose. I did a 1-hour webinar that's available to you as an insider that walks you right through this from start to finish. It explains it with nice pictures and an explanation, and it also tells you what to do. It walks you exactly the steps that you need to go through to get on the other side of this to support and promote the structure and function of the intervertebral discs, and also to calm the inflammation down that's making the heart beat like a rabbit running away from a hound right now.
Okay.
So check that out and apply the therapeutic that I recommend in the atrial fibrillation. Now, the webinar that you want to look at, I've got like 75 webinars in the archives. The webinar that you want to search for and watch is called Atrial Fibrillation. T like Thomas, R-I-A-L, Atrial Fibrillation. It's easy to find. Check it out. Follow the protocol for 4 weeks. The entire protocol, it's like a 3 or a 6 month long protocol, depending on how long it takes for your back situation to sort itself out. But I also have recommendations in there for stuff to do immediately, which should normalize the heartbeat within 48 hours. Okay. So check it out, and after you're all better, you want to call the person up who recommended you come to see me and come to talk to me and give them a great big hug and a kiss, because if you had not found us, you would have a pacemaker within 12 months, and then it's all over, man, except for digging the grave.
I have one more question. Now, what about getting off of the medication? Can I kind of gradually get off of that?
Yeah, so the recommendation here would be I would pursue my program for 4 weeks.
Okay.
And then I would get in touch with the pharmacist, and I would ask. I wouldn't go back to the MD. I wouldn't go back to him. I just wouldn't do it.
Okay.
Because they're stupid enough to give you this prescription in the first place, then they're stupid enough to tell you something else that's incorrect in the future. I mean, they're just knuckleheads about this. So talk to a pharmacist in 3 to 4 weeks and say, look, I want to really get off this crap. Tell me how to do it. And the pharmacist will be able to tell you that you can, how to do that. Some drugs you can just stop cold turkey, and some you have to wean off of over 2 days, 7 days, 14 days, 21 days, whatever. But the pharmacist will give you a heads up on that, and that's how you should do it.
Awesome.
All right. All right, Angela, we're out of time. Keep up the good work down there in Florida. So glad you found me. Now go to drglidden.com, become an insider, and get your health back. Stick around, folks. Gabriel from Orlando is up next. To get away. Yeah. I know what you're thinking. Dr. G. Man, you should have been on The Voice. I really know. It is tragic when someone misses their calling in life. What can I tell you? Let's go to Orlando, talk to Gabriel. The angel Gabriel is amongst us, ladies and gentlemen. Let us all genuflect. Hey, Gabriel.
Hey, Dr. Glidden.
What's going on?
Oh, man, it's so much, but I wasn't going to even call and talk about me today, but tomorrow is my 90th day. I made actually a doctor's appointment so I could fire him on the 90th day.
Well, you know what you should do? You should check to see if the laws of your state allow you to record stuff without the other person's approval. And I'd turn that little video camera on in my pocket, and I'd record the whole thing. I'd put it on Facebook, and I'd watch that. I'd pay money to watch that.
It's great. Listen, since I was supposed to get back with you in 4 weeks, but I've got to tell you, I'm sleeping all night, man. That absorption thing is just unreal. You the man, Doc. I'm crazy about you. But I'm really calling for a friend today. I'll give you my reports later. I signed this young man up, been a long-time friend of the family. And after he bought the health pack, and he hasn't even gotten it yet, we were talking, and he told me he had this skin problem. He signed up as a distributor and everything already. And so he works during this time of day, so I told him to text me, and this is what he told me. Hello, Dr. Glidden. I've been dealing with a skin condition called tinea versicolor.
Yeah, tinea versicolor, yeah.
Okay, since I was a teen. After my last visit to the dermatologist, they explained that it's mutated to something else that I can't remember the name of. It's a combination of skin fungus, skin pigmentation. I noticed that my skin really gets dry in the affected areas, my neck, back, chest, and face. Do you have any recommendations for this issue?
Yeah, so, tinea versicolor is caused ostensibly by out-of-control yeast growth in the skin. And, everybody has yeast living in the skin. I mean, this is an interesting thing to talk about, actually. It's kind of a little tangent I'm going to go off here because I can. But, people that become infected with the HIV virus, as long as they maintain the status of HIV and the body has that relatively under control, they're okay. But once the HIV infection becomes a runaway train, then it goes into acquired immune deficiency syndrome, AIDS. And the problem with AIDS is that it's not the HIV virus that kills people. It's the preponderance of the HIV virus weakens the immune system to such a remarkable extent that normal stuff that our bodies are exposed to every day, that our immune systems are fighting no problem, we don't even think about it every day, the AIDS patient can't. So the AIDS patient will die from a fungal infection, right? The AIDS patient gets a paper cut, and that goes into septicemia, and then they have to cut their hand off. I mean, it's just simple stuff that the immune system can't handle, which is a testimony to the fact that there are bugs in and around the human body all of the freaking time, and the immune system is keeping it all at bay. Now, every once in a while, the system goes a little out of kilter, and one of the bugs gets the upper hand in the situation and then starts to feed and breed, and then, that situation will perpetuate itself if you're under the care of an MD, because the MD is trained to believe that it's the bug that's the problem, when the scientific evidence clearly shows that it's the environment of the body that's the problem. It's not the bug that's the problem. Because if it was the bug that was the problem here, Gabriel, everybody in the world would have tinea versicolor, because everybody in the world has this yeast in their body. It's not the presence of the yeast. It's the environment of the body, which has given the ability of the yeast in his body to run amok. So this is a situation where we need to support the immune system, number one. And number two, we need to help the body optimize sugar metabolism, because one of the main reasons that this happens is sugar is lingering in the bloodstream too long before it gets inside the cells. Sugar is the gasoline of the body. We couldn't blink an eyelash without sugar. I did a really great webinar on sugar, by the way, part of my insider subscription service. Everybody thinks that sugar is the Antichrist. Well, it's not. Your DNA is made from sugar. Your chromosomes are made from sugar. Your body is made from sugar, and you couldn't blink an eyelash without sugar. The problem with sugar is how easily does the body metabolize it, how efficiently, and how much of it are we swallowing for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So in people that have tinea versicolor, which is ostensibly caused to an overgrowth of yeast in the skin, well, there's something that's feeding the yeast. Well, what's feeding the yeast? Well, sugar. Well, what's the problem with sugar? Well, the efficiency or lack thereof that the body is metabolizing the sugar with. So we need to hit this on three fronts, actually. So the first thing is, right, everybody stops the 10 bad foods. So this guy's got to stop the 10 bad foods. Number one. Number two, the healthy packs that he should be taking, I would give him one Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid. A Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid. One of those, one bottle of Sweeties, one Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid, one bottle of Sweeties, 2 bottles of selenium, 2 selenium, 1 bottle of plant-derived minerals, and last but not least, 1 bottle of Killer Biotic per 100 pounds of body weight per month. That's the Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid, 1 bottle of Sweeties, 2 bottles of selenium, 1 bottle of plant-derived minerals, and 1 Killer Biotic per 100 pounds of body weight per month internally. eliminate the 10 bad foods, and for, 60 days, I would have him just stop eating anything that's got extracurricular sugar in it. So no honey, no maple syrup, no agave, no molasses, no nothing that's got extra sugar in it, okay?
He's sugar addict, so that's going to kill him.
Yeah, well, see, that's why he's got this problem. But oftentimes when people are craving sugar and they've got, like a sweet tooth, it's not because they have a self-destructive gene or, they have some inferiority complex and they want to hurt themselves, right? Psychologically, it's because they're minerally deficient. When anybody in your life is craving sugar, the first thing to think of is they don't have enough minerals in their body, and often what we find is when we just give the mineral supplement to somebody, the sugar cravings disappear, and the person doesn't even know. I mean, they weren't even trying not to eat sugar. They just don't want to eat it anymore because it's gone. Why was it there in the first place? Because their medical doctor's an idiot. That's why. So when we get all of this sorted out, he cleans up his diet, he fills up the nutritional tank, the sugar cravings go away, then, the skin slowly starts to bounce back. There's one extra thing he can do here. There's 2 products in Youngevity that he should get topically, and they're both called Pure Works. That's a subsidiary of Youngevity. It's one of the satellite companies that Youngevity owns. It's called Pure Works. Pure Works makes a soap in a bottle. It's a liquid soap in a bottle. I'd like him to get 1 bottle of the Pure Works soap and 1 bottle of the Pure Works foaming cleanser. So instead of using soap, I want him to use the Pure Works soap to wash his body with every day. And after he washes his body with the Pure Works soap, and a couple of extra times during the day, I want him to put the Pure Works foaming cleanser on the parts of his body that the tinea versicolor is on, wherever that is. And I want him to do that 3 times a day. So the topical application of the soap, the Pure Works soap, and the Pure Works foaming cleanser topically, and then internally the diet and the nutritional supplements. And he should see an improvement in this within 90 days. Okay. But remember, man, and this is an important thing for you to understand moving forward because you're going to be a big mover and shaker here in this industry. I can tell it. You need to understand this. This is not a blood sugar treatment. This is not a kill the yeast treatment. This is not an arthritis treatment or a high blood pressure treatment or a fibromyalgia treatment. What we do in Youngevity is we don't treat disease. We support and promote the body's ability to fix itself, and that's what we do. Now, when we support the body, we don't just support the skin, we don't just support the blood, we don't just support the heart, we don't just support the kidney, we don't just support the lung. We support everything because that's the nature of the beast. So when somebody is on Youngevity and they're doing it appropriately, you want to counsel them to look to see how they feel across the board. Not just with this guy, what's happening to the skin. Yes, of course, we expect that to improve, but while he's waiting for the skin to improve, well, how's his mood? How's his energy? How's his appetite? How's his weight? How's his sleep? How's his concentration? How's his sex drive? How are those little nagging headaches that he used to get, or whatever the heck it is, right? And if you can get into the habit of counseling people to check out how this intervention, this medical intervention, medical nutrition intervention makes them feel across the board, then it will give them inspiration and education to maintain the discipline necessary in order to give the program time enough for it to work. It might take him 6 months to get on the other side of this, but in the meantime, right, every couple of weeks there should be an improvement somewhere in his body that he can lean on. Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense, Doc, and I'm a great student of yours, and I'm already talking like you, so... All
right, Gabriel. Well, hey, man, stay tuned because the master is coming on board for the second hour, the one and the only Dr. Joel Wallach. I appreciate your support and everything that you do. I have to move on, brother. Keep up the good work down there in Florida. My pleasure. Lillian in Utah is up next. Hey, Lillian, thanks so much for the phone call. You are live.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, I've got my mom on the product. She's been on it for about, she's on about 90 days now. And I just am wondering if she's not absorbing, because her main thing, she's got a couple of different things, but the main thing was she was the macular degeneration that we were trying to reverse. And the eyes are getting worse. She's like yesterday and today she's had back spasm, and she doesn't have just one every 20 minutes. She has like 20 every minute. And
well, all right, so for back spasms or muscle spasms anywhere in the body, I don't care if it's a little tiny muscle above your eyelid or if it's a major muscle in your back or your leg or your butt. I don't care. Whenever you see a back spasm, you have to do more calcium and magnesium. And a better product to use in that arena for that specific set of symptoms is the Cal Toddy. So how much does she weigh?
She's probably about 150, 55 pounds.
All right, so I'd give her, I would get 2 bottles of Beyond Osteo FX and 2 bottles of Cal Toddy a month for, the next couple of months. And I would give her a half an ounce of each. A half an ounce of Cal Toddy and a half an ounce of the liquid calcium, 1, 2, 3, 4 times a day. I'm going to have to check my math and come back to you on the other side of the break. So stick with me, Lily, and I'm so glad that you called. More to come, ladies and gentlemen. Again, check the live stream out, the drgliddenshow.tv. Peter Glidden here, your steadfast advocate for health, welcoming you to another live edition of the Dr. Glidden Show.tv. Our very special guests, and coming up in approximately 14 minutes, Dr. Joel Wallach. So fasten your seatbelts. Let's go back to Lillian in Utah and sort this out. Yeah, so my math was correct, Lillian. So I'd like you to do a half an ounce of each. A half an ounce of the Cal Toddy and the half an ounce of the Beyond Osteo FX 4 times a day in a little bit of orange juice each time. And I bet if you up the ante with the calcium supplementation, then it will eliminate the back spasms within 72 hours. That's the first thing that I would do. Now remember, whenever we are attempting to increase absorption, we have to eliminate the 10 bad foods. And when we are attempting to support and promote healthy eye function, we need to max out on selenium and the Ultimate Daily Capsules. And then the secret sauce on top of that would be 100,000 ORAC of antioxidants, however you can skin that cat. Does that make sense?
Yes, and she's been doing that. I mean, she's been off the 10 bad foods. She's doing the 100,000 ORAC. She's doing like 3 chocolates a day because she doesn't eat that much. But she can't do eggs. She can do 1 egg. If she does 2, she starts feeling sick. She doesn't do red meat. So it's like I need to get.
Well, is she losing weight or not?
Not really. No, she's kind of maintaining.
Then there's no. This is not a food issue here. That the issue with her is getting enough supplements into the body so that the body can rally and fix the eye condition to the ability that it's able to. Has she seen any improvement anywhere in her body whatsoever?
Not really, not that she can tell. I told her to go take the Wallach online survey again to see if anything changed, but as she thinks back, I mean, she's not really feeling any better. So we're just wondering if she's not absorbing all this nutrition she's taking.
Well, the only time that medical nutrition fails is if she's not taking the right stuff. She's got an eye condition and she's taking the bone and joint pack, or she's not taking enough, or she's not absorbing it. The only thing that interferes with absorption, is wheat, barley, rye, and oats, unless her just intestinal tract is just smashed by, 70 years of wheat, barley, rye, and oats every day. It's unusual.
I'm on fiber. I had her on fiber because that's what I knew before I learned fiber's not good. So I didn't know if maybe the fiber had destroyed the villi and we need to get that villi back up again. And
well, when you stop eating the bad food and you start taking the nutritional supplements into the body, then ostensibly everything will start to come around. But, there are situations like this, especially with elderly people, where it might take 6 months for things to shift. And then, after things start to shift, then the improvement accelerates. It's kind of like a snowball rolling down a hill. But I got to tell you, it's very unusual for anybody, even with strong absorption issues, to not feel any difference whatsoever with the nutritional supplement program in the first 8 weeks. It's very unusual that would happen.
Yeah, that's why I'm feeling.
Yeah. Well, all right. Yeah, so here's what I would do. I would give her, for the next 14 days as an experiment, I would give her 1 level scoop of the Beyond Tangy Tangerine in 30 ounces of water 4 times a day. 1 level scoop in 30 ounces of water 4 times a day. Have her take at least an hour to drink each of those down. Increase the calcium to a half an ounce of each 4 times a day. And give her 1 ounce of plant-derived minerals. 1 ounce of plant-derived minerals between meals twice a day. 1 ounce of plant-derived minerals is a standalone product between meals twice a day. See if that gives you some type of leverage. Do that for 14 days, Lillian, and then call me back. I'll look forward to hearing your report. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time. The man, the myth, the legend, Dr. Joel Wallach, our very special guest at 6 after the hour. Stay tuned. I am Dr. Peter Glidden, your steadfast advocate for health. Thank you so much for tuning in and turning on. This is the Dr. Glidden Show.